Supporters of Kenyans opposition party NASA react following the of gunshots during a demonstration in Nairobi. Credit YASUYOSHI CHIBAAFPGetty images. Police opened fire on protesters escorting Raila Odinga, Kenya's opposition leader, from Nairobi's international airport on Friday, killing at least 5 people in an ominous escalation of the country's political crisis. For the first time since protests erupted more than 3 months ago, serious violence erupted in the affluent center of the Kenyan capital as police attempted to prevent Mr. Odinga from addressing a rally called at a city park. The car carrying Mr. Odinga, who was returning from a trip to the United States and Britain, was struck by a tear gas canister that splintered its bulletproof windscreen, an incident that goaded his supporters into further fury. Supporters of Kenyan opposition National Super Alliance NASA coalition throw stones at police in Nairobi. Credit Basrat Reuters. Helmeted police used tear gas, water cannon and live fire to disperse stone-throwing protesters during repeated clashes along streets which the opposition motorcade passed. There was also violence in other parts of the city. Although at least 66 people have been killed since Mr. Odinga challenged his defeat in a presidential election in August, this is the first time that the opposition leader has been directly caught up in such extreme unrest. Kenyan's opposition party National Super Alliance NASA leader Raila Odinga looks on during a demonstration following his arrival to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on November 17. Credit AFP. Police decision to ban his homecoming rally, also a first, coupled with the ruthless police response, suggests that Kenya's government may be adopting a more hardline approach to the protests. The police insisted they had not used live ammunition and were responsible for none of the deaths. Journalists and witnesses who saw 3 corpses said all had bullet wounds. Kadhiani Member of Parliament Robert Mbui rolls to safety after he was hit by another car as riot police dispersed the convoy of Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga. Credit Thomas Mukuya. Reuters. Senior figures in Mr. Odinga's opposition NASA coalition warned it could prove more incendiary too. The wanton use of force is ill-advised, Mutual. Kilonzo Jr., an opposition senator, wrote on Twitter. It will only strengthen the resolve of NASA and its supporters. Kadhiani Member of Parliament Robert Mbui beneath the darker vehicle number plate is hit by another car as riot police dispersed the convoy of Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga. Credit Reuters. Kenya is experiencing its worst political violence in a decade as anger simmers over 2 contentious presidential elections held in the past 3 months. The first, in August, saw President Uhuru Kenyatta's re-election overturned by the Supreme Court, which found irregularities and illegalities in the transmission of votes. The second, held last month, was boycotted by Mr. Odinga, who said that a failure to reform the Electoral Commission meant that the vote would be no fairer than the first. Supporters of Kenyan's opposition party National Super Alliance NASA leader Raila Odinga march with his convoy upon his arrival to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on November 17. Credit AFP. Civil rights groups have mounted a legal challenge against Mr. Kenyatta's most recent win, which, in the absence of serious opposition, he won with 98% of the vote. Kenya's Supreme Court will deliver its ruling on Monday. Analysts generally expect the judges to uphold the president's victory this time round, although the hearing has been held in an atmosphere of intimidation after the deputy chief justice's driver was shot and wounded last month.